Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Our largest single-theme land expansion ever.
Now we want you to share with us our latest and greatest dream.
Matterhorn Matt presents Matterhorn Mondays.
Welcome, everybody, to... What are you laughing about? We just started. Episode 146 of Matterhorn Mondays, coming to you guys live from the Outpost. I'm your host, Matterhorn Matt.
And I'm your co-host, Alex the Historian.
And I am the Jeremy.
He still doesn't have a title.
Yeah, he is the...
Third wheel, that was my title.
Yeah, the third
okay.
wheel.
Why don't you just say that then? Instead of wasting all of our time trying to figure out how you're going to announce yourself.
Well, it seems like you're the only one taking up time right now.
Guys, we got a great episode planned. Yeah, it's gonna be. We got a lot of great We actually do have a lot of great topics that I'm excited to get into today. There was a busy news week this past week, and as you all know, links to everything will be down in the description. Social media, all that stuff. Alex's channel, Jeremy's theater resume will be linked down below as well, as well as his Twitter. And you guys, if you'd like to be wished a happy birthday live on the stream, you can do so by clicking the link down below, submitting your name and birthday in the Google form, and we'll add it to our birthday calendar. And this week we have 3 birthdays on Monday the 10th. It's August, you guys. Monday the 10th of August is Andrew's birthday. Happy birthday to Andrew, as well as to this upcoming Friday the 14th. Jason, or otherwise known as @DisneyDude, Disney with a 3. Jason's been on the show before. Happy birthday to Jason. Friday the 14th, as well as Troy on Friday the 14th. Happy birthday to all 3 of you people. And, excuse me, I just drank Coke, so I have... like the carbonated
Mixed with what?
Mixed with nothing, Jeremy. It's Coke.
I thought he was hitting the Snapple already.
I had a little one of everything from the McDonald's. She just went and all the drinks into one. Happy birthday to everybody. And yeah, links down below if you'd like to be wished a happy birthday, as well as 575-386-5814 if you'd like to leave a voicemail, call in, whatever we're talking about. If you have any opinions, go ahead and ring in, leave a voicemail, and if you could keep the voicemails, you guys, to under a minute. We did really good last episode, keeping them sort of, in that range, under a minute, as I think ample enough time for everybody to get their thoughts across. And yeah, do you guys have anything you'd like to say before we start the episode or get into the...
Yes, Matthew, have you read what Undefined Variables just reminded us in the comments?
Oh,
or the chat,
happy birthday to the Haunted Mansion. Looks good for 51. Is that today?
Hey, that's right. That is today.
Wow. Today as in Sunday the 9th. So happy birthday.
51 years.
Yeah. Still looking as sexy as always. The Haunted Mansion hasn't aged year a day. Okay. Anyways, yeah, happy birthday to the Haunted Mansion. And yeah, well, Jeremy, do you have anything you'd like to say before we get into the episode?
It's going to be a short show today.
All right. Yes, everybody, it is going to be a short show today. And let's just go ahead and get right into it. This week's news from the Peak.
We now present to you news
from the Peak. Yeah, news from the Peak, everybody. And this is a very interesting first bit of news from the Peak. Splash Mountain in the Magic Kingdom, a boat actually ended up submerging fully into the the attraction into the water below. Boat with guests actually took on water and sunk this Monday on Splash Mountain. There were no injuries, but there were videos and images that were, of course, shared online of the sinking log. Yeah, and of course, links to everything will be down in the description. Here's just a little brief image here. As you can see, it's literally, almost fully underwater, and there are videos online as well. If you'd like to, it just adds to the experience, honestly. You get wet at the end. Why not get wet at the beginning, too? So it just evens everything out. But for our second bit of news from the Peak, Disney, this is interesting. Disney is eyeing Tom Hanks to play Geppetto in a live-action version of the Pinocchio film, directed by Robert Zemeckis. Yeah, I think this is all who we sort of, fan cast as Geppetto for the live-action remake. Tom Hanks is always a great choice. I love his acting. Yeah.
Are we just gonna get him to play every maturedly role in every Disney movie that features an old man?
Yeah, why not have him play Walt Disney's Frozen Head? That's who he's going to be playing next in his next film. But for our final bit of news from the Peak, guys, it's finally happening. Disney has released the trailer for their upcoming film, Phineas and Ferb: Candace Against the World, where Phineas and Ferb must traverse the universe. I don't know what I thought I said. To traverse the universe to rescue their older sister Candace, and the film releases August 28th. And I'm not going to be playing the trailer because of copyright. I don't want to get this video, this podcast, this episode, taken down. But link will be in the description if you'd like to watch the trailer for this film. Alex, hello.
Hi.
What are your thoughts
Thank
on
you for having me.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this week's news from the Peak?
Well, the last two parts I really could care less, but the Splash Mountain one, I wanted to know, did Disney release any kind of official statement about that, or how the cast members handled it yet? Because that might alter what I have to say.
They released a statement. It was buried in the news article, one of the news articles that I attached for this. But they basically just said everyone was fine. It was just that one boat. They didn't release a statement regarding the cast members saying that the people should have stayed in the boat. But they did release a statement saying it happened near the end of the attraction. Everyone was fine. It was just that one boat. That's basically what they said.
Okay, because there was this big thing. Obviously, everybody knows that the cast member told them to stay in the boat, regardless of the fact that it was sinking. And normally I usually side with the cast members. I'm like, you can't jump out of a moving vehicle. It's just really dangerous. But this was one of the cases where I really felt if there was a time to jump out of a boat, it would have been then, because. Personally, how I feel is if you look at the back row of that boat, how it's completely inundated with water. I think the people in the boat said there was a child sitting in that row, and they could have possibly drowned if the lap bar had not been released. And then on top of that, if you look at how the end of that boat is just completely submerged in water, a boat coming up behind it at speed could have gone up and over it. Mm-hmm. And so I would have to say in that I support the fact that they got out of the boat.
Yeah.
That's just something I felt I waited all week to say on this podcast.
Yeah, I saw Alex tweeted something similar the other day, and I do agree with Mr. Alex the historian. But
and it made me mad that the cast members scolded the guests.
Yeah,
that is something they tell us never to do. They say you never ever. They make you pass a psychological test, right? And one of the questions on the test is if you see a child using a hammer and they hurt themselves, do you A, scold them for using the hammer, B, scold them for using the hammer but teach them how to properly use it, or C, ask if they're okay and then teach them how to properly use it? And the answer is obviously C. Oh my god. Oh my god. Could never be a cast member now. The answer is obviously C. You know, that's what Disney wants to hear, is like they want to hear that you're going to ask first if everybody is okay, and then, you know, and then assess the situation from there, but you never scold the guest for something like that, especially in this situation. So I just wanted to know if Disney had said anything about that.
I don't know if, I mean, here's the thing. We don't know if the cast member scolded the guests. Like, how could you not have stayed in the boat? Or if it was like,
she said next
normally we
stay in the boat.
Okay. Next time, stay in the boat. All right. We still don't know the tone. But here's the thing, you know, I feel like at the same time, and I'm not defending the cast member at all. I think that was a very weird thing to have expected of the guests do. But you know, oftentimes when you're like the lowest of the low on the ladder of any institution, you feel this like sort of if you don't you have to like enforce policy, because if you don't, even if you know it's wrong, like you always feel like you're going to get in trouble. So I can understand if there was any pressure from her supervisor or whatever, that like is, if it's someone who's like, so like policy is policy, you know, then I can understand why the cast member anxiously and, you know, being flustered with this kind of emergency would have made that kind of comment. But I agree, it's a very weird thing to say and expect of the guests when it's a sinking boat.
Yeah.
Well, at least they all got free water. They didn't have to spend $5 a bottle.
Do you see how dirty that water is?
That water is disgusting, honestly. Look at how
our Splash Mountain doesn't
brown.
have water that dirty.
Yeah.
Our
the
Splash Mountain
animatronics
has much
poop in
cleaner
the
water.
In Disney World, they must.
It just goes to show you, like, that's just like that park is just in shambles.
Yeah. Oh, well, Jer or Alex, do you have anything? You don't have anything else to say about any of the other topics you said?
Jaralex.
Giralex. I wish giraffes made a sound so I could.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I really couldn't care less about the other two topics.
That's fair. Jeremy. E2? Jeremy?
Okay. Great. If that was your audition for Julius Caesar, thank you for coming.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay, we talked about Splash Mountain. You know, Tom Hanks is Geppetto. For some reason, I can't picture him doing like an Italian accent, but I think he'll be great. And let's move on.
Yeah, it's time to move on, everybody. Well, I did accidentally skip over our favorite segment of the show, so let's go ahead and get into this week's Matt Snaps, everybody. Yeah.
A whole wide world of knowledge underneath the cap. It's once again time this week for Matterhorn Snaps.
All right, everybody, it's time. I have a Snapple here, and I'm going to open this on the episode. I'm going to drink this on the episode, and you're going to watch me do all of it. But first, you're going to, as you can see, that this is proof that it's a real Snapple bottle. There's no tomfoolery. There's no strings attached anywhere. Let's go ahead and pop this open and see if we get a good snap this week. Here we go. Hey, you know, that was not a bad snap, to be honest. And this is real fact number 804. There are 293 ways to make change for $1. There's 100 pennies. That's one way. There's 95 pennies. It's a nickel. That's two ways. And there's 841 more of them. More ways. So that has been Matt Snaps, everybody. We missed it last week, but I made up for it this week. Oh, I said I was going to bring 2 bottles, didn't I? That I was going to do both at the same. I didn't do that, so I kind of failed you on that one. But that's okay. Snap was 8.5 out of 10, says Tony. I can agree with that. 8.5 out of 10. Not the best, but yeah, we do have some main topics that we are excited to get into today. For our first main topic, we are going to be, of course, talking about, or I guess sort of doing a rundown here of some of the information that Disney said at their quarterly, call that they released the other day. So, Disney sees future in streaming amid a $4.79 billion loss. That is a lot of money. And Disney's stock jumped 10% this past week, despite a 40% plunge in operating income following the Q3 earnings call this Tuesday. The plunge in net income is a result of an 85% or $2 billion loss of income in the Parks, Resorts, and Consumer Products division. This division oversees the theme parks and shopping districts owned by Disney around the world, which, of course, if you guys have been living under a rock, the parks have been closed for almost 3 months, especially Disneyland. Of course, most of the parks are open by now, minus Disneyland is the only, or maybe Hong Kong, I think, is still closed as well. I don't know.
Disneyland's been 5 months.
5 months since Disneyland closed? It was March, wasn't it? Wow.
March 14th, and it's August 9th.
Almost 5 months to the day. Yeah, that's crazy, you guys. 5 months. And then, of course, Walt Disney World opened back in, was it May, I believe? A few months ago. Disney World's open. It's doing all right. We'll get into that. Closed for the entire third quarter of 2020. Although Walt Disney World reopened this July, it has not been performing as well as the company expected. So we can go ahead and, I guess, just sort of take a pause right there and reflect. $2 billion loss of income due to the parks. Well, not just the parks, but the Parks, Resorts, and Consumer Products division, that whole part of the company. Alex, just sort of touching on that, what are your thoughts on all of the money lost due to the closure of all the parks that have been around the world?
It's shocking, but it's not surprising, It's, I do feel for the company because, I really do love Disney, and I want them to keep doing things and doing them well. So it's, it's pretty shocking. I don't know if you want me to keep going. There's a complete silence right now.
Guys, Alex, you keep going. Yeah.
I think I just said it all. Jeremy, how about you?
He doesn't want to. There you go. I feel the same way. I mean, that was expected. I mean, we've been talking about this for 5 months, so it makes sense. The parks are a huge point of revenue, and the parks being closed, of course they're going to see a loss of $2 billion in this quarter, and 4.7 something billion overall during this period. So that makes sense, but the next part of this story is interesting. So Matt, why don't you proceed?
Yeah, there is a little bit of, upside to this whole thing. The jump in stock price, like I mentioned, Disney's stock jumped 10% this past week, and you'll find out here in a second. That comes from the discussion surrounding the success of Disney's streaming service, Disney Plus, of course fueled by the release of Hamilton this past July, met the low end of its 5-year goal of 60.5 million subscribers in only 9 months, which is really crazy numbers if you put it into perspective of all the other streaming services as well. Hulu has also been releasing critically acclaimed series such as, I don't know, you guys, series such as Miss America, which received 8 Emmy nominations, and ESPN Plus has also been surging in popularity as live sports return, which is sort of a shocker to me. I didn't think anybody used ESPN Plus, but good for them. No hate to all you ESPN Plus users out there. Issues have arisen regarding the release of the live-action Mulan remake, leading Disney to forego a theatrical release in America and Europe, instead deciding to sort of have this movie on Disney Plus as an extra pay-on edition for $30, a one-time charge of $30 to watch the new Mulan remake on Disney Plus, which of course we're going to be getting into a discussion about that in the future. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes as well. Disney also plans to release a streaming service under the Hotstar brand for international audiences to view Hulu, ABC, Searchlight, and 20th Century Fox. Overall, Disney globally has 100 million subscribers over its 3 streaming services. So we can go ahead and sort of backtrack there about Disney meeting the low end of its 5-year goal of 60.5 million subscribers in only 9 months, and then we can sort of continue on from there. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on those astronomical numbers from coming out of Disney Plus?
It really is astronomical. I mean, I want you really to think about, we haven't had Disney Plus for even a year, and it's already the 3rd most popular streaming service out there. I mean, that's incredible. Of course, that was aided by, the fact that streaming services are so popular because of the crisis that we're in.
Yeah.
But that's still an incredible feat. And, if ever you go back in episodes in past years and, hear me and Alex probably critique Disney Plus, the existence of a possible existence of a Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It's not that we were wrong, but we were wrong. So we talked on this. How we talked about on the show about how companies moving toward creating individual streaming platforms is not necessarily good for the long term, and not good for the consumer. Consumers aren't going to want to pay for individual subscription services for different brands. We've talked about that on this show.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that time I knew that there were a few things. Like, okay, I think of it in terms of like what I would pay for. So like, would I pay for Netflix and Disney Plus? Yes. Would I pay for like, Paramount's own thing and Sony's own thing and HBO's thing? No, I wouldn't. I don't. I have chosen 3 streaming services. I already get Amazon Prime, so that was already included. But I also, I do Disney Plus and Netflix, and I'm done. Like, if something is going to go on HBO or something, I'm not even going to bother watching it, because I'm not going to pay for like 7 streaming services, So, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I mean, but I'm never wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So okay. All right. I'm humble enough to admit when I'm wrong. I guess some people aren't. So I'm kidding. So okay, where even was I with this? Okay, yeah. So Disney is really, I think, feeling lucky that they jumped on the streaming thing, because it really is the saving grace. It's going to be the saving grace of the company.
Yeah.
It's going to help them to be able to fund another profit maker, which are the parks, which we're learning that the parks do actually turn billions of dollars in profits. So it's not a matter. I think they've moved past the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't think they think the solution is not investing in the parks. I think they understand the parks make a lot of money and that they're worth investing in, but they're investing in streaming of all kinds so that they're able to refund the parks. That's what I think is going on. So I hope it's not just like, screw the parks. Let's only be let's rebrand the company to be the top streaming company in the world. I hope that's not the case. But I hope it's more like, okay, streaming can save us so that we can actually fund the things that we like to do. So.
Alex, yeah. What are your thoughts here?
Well, I thought it was really amazing because when Disney Plus came out last year, I knew it was going to be really popular. But as soon as the pandemic hit and everything had to shut down and there was word that the parks were shutting down, immediately in my mind, I'm like, this Disney Plus thing is going to be like the one thing that earns them money throughout this whole time. And in essence, it kind of was for a little bit. It was like the one thing that was earning them a lot of money. And it probably saved the company so much money. Like, people think like companies like this, they have like a stockpile of money, and which they do, but it's not as big as we think it is. Most of the time, the money is already invested in something, and if they want to get that money, they either have to sell the company's own personal stocks, or they have to borrow money from banks, to which banks usually will agree to lend Disney money. But nevertheless, it's not like Disney keeps like a vault where there's like this huge sum of like billions upon billions of dollars. So, so I knew that this pandemic was going to negatively affect the company, and they would have to try to climb out of it. But it helps that the streaming service is there. That being said, I also think what's really cool is like 65 million subscribers in 9 months is a huge feat of software engineering. Ask anybody who sets up like software servers and things like that for companies. You start off with an estimated amount of people for an estimated period of time, and you build a facility that holds the servers that help distribute the information across the internet to a certain area. But when those numbers get totally blown out of the water by just the huge sums of people that have come to subscribe, it's like, you imagine that they have to be scrambling to add additions to those physical servers to allow for such expansion. It's like, that's the reason why in the very beginning, anybody who was subscribed to Disney Plus had a lot of trouble with Disney Plus. Sometimes it wasn't responding to your remote, and sometimes it would glitch or something, and you'd have to stop the program and restart it. And that's because in the very beginning, they just blew up with way more subscribership than they thought, and they had to quickly expand their servers. And then, of course, adding servers across the planet to service more people who are outside the US. So it's just amazing to think about how quickly they must have had to add on to their servers ahead of schedule, just because they didn't expect it to be this big, at least not this quickly. So that is an interesting thought to thunk.
Yeah, well, I agree. Yeah, people have been saying, like Alex said, that the servers. I did also experience a bit of downtime from Disney Plus once it first launched, but once the first few weeks and months were out of the way, it was pretty fine. But then I'd like to continue on to this next point as well, when it comes to the brand new, I guess not really brand new anymore, the Mulan remake that Disney has recently made. That was supposed to be going to theaters. I believe the release date was pushed back, I think, like 2 or 3 times already, and Disney finally decided to give in, go with what the other competitors are doing, because we've seen other, movie studios put out their new films on, streaming services. You could buy online, rent online. Disney has, of course, like we mentioned, folded $30 one-time charge to watch Mulan on Disney Plus, and that is, of course, in addition to the already monthly payment that you do to get access to Disney Plus. So we can go ahead and sort of discuss that, because I guess we all knew that it was inevitably. It takes me a while to say the word right. We all knew it was going to happen eventually. Disney folding and deciding to put Mulan on Disney Plus. We weren't really sure of how much they would maybe charge for it, but we can sort of touch on that $30 price point. Jeremy, do you think $30 is maybe too much, maybe too little for to pay for a brand new movie like this? Because what do you think?
I don't think it's too much. I think Disney actually meticulously did their research and settled it on a reasonable price range. I mean, this is discourse that's been happening, this past week, but I'll kind of reiterate here. basically when you go to if you're a family, right, and that's the main market Disney markets to. If you're a family of say 4 and you go to the movie theater, and let's say you're in New York, those movie tickets are going to be from $15 to $17, and if you're in LA, it's not going to be too far behind those prices. That times 4 is far more than $30. And even if you're a couple going to see the new Mulan movie on a date night, you're probably going to buy concessions. You're going to spend more than $30. So this is $30. You could have a family of 8 and watch this for a one-time payment of $30. I absolutely think it's not too high. That being said, first of all, it makes sense that they set a price like that because this is a high budget movie that they were expecting not just to make their money back on, but to make probably billions of dollars in box office revenue from, especially in their international markets, right? So $30 makes sense. That being said, I don't know too many people who are jumping up and down in anticipation for this movie that they are not willing to just be like, oh, I'll wait for it to, a year for it to be on Disney Plus for free. I know that I'm not one of those people that's jumping up and down to see this movie. And so while the price makes sense from that point of view, yes, it is still a bargain to pay $30 when you would take your family and spend far more than that to a theater to see it. I do think that people aren't, again, jumping up and down in anticipation and ready to click buy when the movie drops on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too hot on Mulan to begin with. Avery said in chat, why pay an extra $30 to watch this new one when you can watch probably a better version, the original animated version? I mean, you can't really say that because no one's seen the movie yet. It could be better than the original, but, what are the odds of that actually happening? But Alex, what are your thoughts here? $30 for the one-time payment to watch this brand new Mulan movie.
So I'll have to agree with Jeremy that it's a fair price when you think about it in terms of the theater, like going to a movie theater and how much you're going to spend there and stuff like that. But that being said, it also doesn't, as a consumer, I'm not going to pay that. I'm just not going to do it. I mean, the reason why is because, first of all, it's being released on a streaming service you already have to pay money for, a monthly fee. It's like Netflix, when they release a movie, it's already included in the price of your streaming, monthly payment. And I get that, that's the difference between a streaming service studio versus a movie studio. But that being said, I can't look at the two things, compare them and go, yeah, I'm still going to pay an extra $30 to see one movie that I may not even like. I really don't think I'm going to like this movie because no live action version of a Disney movie I have ever liked compared to its animated version ever. I just haven't. So I really don't think that trend is going to break now with Mulan. But yeah, so it's just $30 is, for me, it would only be me watching the movie. So I'm not going to pay $30 just for myself to watch this movie. I'm trying to think of, I had some other point that I wanted to bring across, but it makes sense, the pricing, and they got to make the money back because a whole movie studio went and created this movie. But it's just an unfortunate situation, like I want Disney to make their money back, but I also don't want to pay it. So it's just how I feel. I'm just human.
Yeah, well, I guess you could sort of see the two sides of the argument there. Jeremy provided the one side, Disney has to charge more for this since they were expecting this to be one of the big blockbuster movies of this summer. Whether or not it was going to be, it's a different discussion. And then Alex, of course, brought up the point, why pay an extra $30 when you already pay, the base price for Disney Plus, and you should, I feel like you should reasonably expect all the new content to go there to be under that price point of that you pay monthly. So it is sort of a dilemma that Disney is facing. But, I agree that I think they made the right decision here to, Alex,
You know what I think?
Yes.
Yeah. I think if Disney really wanted to charge $30 a pop, then what they probably should have done was release the movie publicly on the internet. And I don't know, maybe on their website or something. The Disney studio has a website. They could have released it on their website. So that way everybody, even people who don't have a Disney Plus service, could pay a movie theater price.
My Siri just went off. I don't know why. Sorry, continue. I don't know why that happened.
Disney Siri.
So I think that they should have released it, publicly, like on a website or something, for anybody who doesn't have a streaming service to pay for it and buy it, and they should have charged a normal, like, high-end movie theater price or something. But yeah, that's I think that what just gets me the most is just the fact that you're paying for the streaming service, but then you have to pay an extra amount for a movie. So.
Yeah, I guess similar to some of the way other studios have been doing it. Disney did, of course, $30, but of course, like I said, two sides of the argument. I would like to know what you guys would do. Are you excited to see this brand new Mulan movie? Would you pay $30 to see this new Mulan movie? Because I do agree with Jeremy. I think $30, maybe if you're not if you're not alone, if you're like a family, $30 is a good price. Like Jeremy said, you could have literally as many people in your house. Well, maybe not now, but if we weren't social distancing, then you could have like 100 people in your house to come watch this movie for the $130 payment. But then I guess if you're like me, or I guess if you're like just like a 2-person or 1-person, I don't think the $30 would be worth it all that much, especially since, why watch this when you can watch the original? But before we continue on here, we do have a voicemail here. We have 2 voicemails, actually. Let's go ahead and get to this first one here from Mr. Avery. This goes back to the Splash Mountain news from the Peak bit that we touched on, and then we also have another voicemail to get to right after that. So let's go ahead and hear what Mr. Avery has to say about the Splash Mountain incident that we discussed.
The Splash Mountain boat. Where to begin? Okay, so let's recap 2020 in terms of malfunctions, stuff like that at the park. So now keep in mind, this is all at Magic Kingdom. So, okay, so we've had John Progress missing his hand, Sorry. So there's problems with John Progress. Okay, there's the TTA fire. Smoky TTA, okay, and now there's the Splash Mountain boat. All of this has happened at Magic Kingdom. 2020 has been a rough year for Magic Kingdom. And then there's over at Epcot, there's Jose missing. All these things happened at Walt Disney World in 2020. Oh, Jungle Cruise, that was also Magic Kingdom. The boat sank. Just like the Splash Mountain boat. These boats sink at Magic Kingdom, so you make you wonder, what's going to be the next ride of a boat sink? Is it going to be Small World? Is it going to be Pirates? It's probably going to happen at Magic Kingdom. Might have to go see the tour, the boat's going to sink. But yeah, it shows that they just don't care about maintenance. They don't care about the rides. They don't care about the animatronics. And the thing is, the cast member was saying, like, oh, it's a safety hazard to get out of the boat. The boat was sinking. Is that not a safety hazard? The log flume behind it can go over it, and then you'll drown, you'll die. Is that not a safety hazard? I think it is. It's messed up. 2020 is messed up year in general. Yeah, it's sad to see the state of the park.
Avery with some very heated opinions there on the Magic Kingdom. Rightfully so as well. We have touched, of course, like he said in the past, the other incidents that he mentioned. but I don't know. I guess hopefully moving forward, everything will be going smoothly. Probably not, but we'll see. And then we do have one final voicemail here as well. This one says no transcription available, so...
interesting. I'm excited to hear what this voicemail has to say about the topics that we were just discussing.
Yeah, it could either be about something
from
news from the peak, or even the one that we just discussed, the streaming services.
Yeah, very excited to hear how on topic this voicemail is going to be.
Let's go
very
excited. Let's go and see what this is all about.
Hey, this is Autumn. I was just wondering, what's everyone's favorite Heimlich character, and why is it Heimlich? He's just the greatest, most amazing thing ever. The way he says candy corn, and when he's a little beautiful bumblebee, when he dresses up as a beautiful bumblebee, a little cute little bumblebee. Oh, I love him so much. He's just the greatest bug in the universe, and I just love him so much. If you guys could talk about him more, that would be really great, because I'm looking at one of my plushies with him right now, and how could you just not love the guy? He's little thick. He's just thick. I just love him so much. So if you could talk about that would be great. I would enjoy that highly. Thank you. Bye.
I think you should drink some of your Coke, man. This is Thomas.
Two words on him. Get help. I'm kidding.
Oh gosh.
That was on topic. Now that you mentioned it, Jeremy, I'm so glad.
It's almost like the two of you knew what was gonna be said in that.
I played no part in this whatsoever.
What?
You have to wonder how. You guys seem to have known that it wasn't going to be on topic.
I don't know. I don't even know who that.
That has been Alex in the Parks.
I don't even know who. What was the name?
Oh,
what was the name?
It's Autumn. Only the most well-known person that talks to the both of you.
Oh my god. All right, guys.
This show is a teaser of what you can expect from Matterhorn Mondays After Dark. Okay.
Coming soon, TM. Copyrighted. Whoa. Anyways, yeah, that was Nate
trademark.
Said that was trademark. Copy. I don't know. Nate said that was insightful and relevant to the topic. Thank you. I agree. But on that note, everybody, it is, of course, time to move into this week's COVID headlines rundown. Do we need a drum roll or something?
This week on Matterhorn Monday, Matt and company continue their reports and discussions on COVID-19 and its impact on the Disney company around the world.
COVID rundown, everybody. We got a few headlines here to talk about, and then we do have a final second topic to get into before we close off the episode. First headline: Tangerine Cafe now temporarily closed at the Morocco Pavilion in Epcot. And I believe this is not the first. This is not the first of the temporary closings that we've seen from restaurants in Epcot, if I'm mistaken. I could be mistaken, but most of the time I am mistaken. But second headline here, CLIA announces U.S. cruise operations to be suspended through the end of October. Disney Cruise Line sailings pulled from the website. So, of course, that's been going on for quite a while now. No more cruise lines due to the global pandemic. Final headline here, DVC Moonlight Magic events at Disney's Hollywood Studios canceled in September and October. And, of course, all of these articles will be linked down in the description. Yeah, you guys fans of the Moonlight Magic events, the Vacation Club stuff? They're canceled. Sorry. Not happening. But, yeah. And on that note, it's time to get into our second and final topic of the day here today. This is an interesting topic, of course. Tourists weary about travel to Walt Disney World, yet locals find it impossible. Impossible. Look at this beautiful image right here, you guys, of the Magic Kingdom, Walt, and the kind of color scheme. Of course, credit to Blog Mickey for the image, but this is an interesting topic here. Disney is restricting access to annual pass holders to create space for more resort guests, but resort guests do not feel safe enough to travel to the resort during the pandemic, according to a poll of 2,200 Americans run by Morning Consult. Morning Consult, interesting business name. Americans do not feel confident enough in safety procedures across the nation to visit theme parks. 72% of respondents stated that they do not feel safe, yet these are the exact types of guests Disney wishes to rely on. Space for resort guests in the Park Pass system is essentially wide open. Meanwhile, Disney's most loyal guests, their annual pass holders, have been blocked out or are blocked out for months. Now, this is very interesting because you'd think it'd be the flip of what Disney would want to do, at least in my opinion, because, the locals who all have the annual pass holders, especially when it comes to Disneyland, more of a locals park. But, Walt Disney World has a lot of annual pass holders as well that visit on a weekly basis, monthly basis, maybe even daily basis as well. And even you can just see in this image here, for the entirety of August, no theme parks, or they're all got their little red X through them for the annual pass holders. Mr. Alex, as a former annual pass holder to Disneyland, at least, what are your thoughts here on this, this problem that's going on here?
Well, for the next month, I am still currently an annual pass holder.
Oh, wow.
But with the park being closed, I haven't had to pay the fee yet. So, it's funny because a lot of people don't know this, but this was kind of well known, at least to us Cassembers back when. But we always referred to the annual pass holders as annual discounters because as much as you think you're paying for an annual pass, you're actually paying a pittance in comparison to the people that are coming in from the park. And it's hard to explain that on a park-wide scale. So let me just give you a quick metaphor. If you were to hold like a private party in your house, right? And you've invited, let's just say, only 10 people, right? But out of 10 of those people and everybody has to pay admission to get into your party, 8 of those people are pass holders and they only have to pay once a month to go into a daily party. Mm-hmm. Really, you're only making money out of that day off of 2 of those people who are not pass holders.
Yeah.
And they're paying their money. So if you can fill your party with all 10 people paying money all at once, you've just made a ton of money that day. So essentially that's what an annual pass holder is. They pay a certain amount of money, which looks like a large amount of money, but compared to how often they are able to get into the parks, it really thins out that expense to the point where it really, in the long run, is not a lot of money. It's a very small amount. So Disney wants to make all that money. And so when what's his name? Bob Chapek said the other day, it's the out of towner visiting guests who pay the one-time admission fee and stuff like that. They really do make more money for the resort. And also the other thing about pass holders is generally pass holders will consume less food and sometimes less merchandise. And again, that goes back to the whole metaphor with the party, because if you're going to the party frequently throughout the month, are you always going to buy the same stuff? No, you might get a bite to eat before you get to the party, or you might, spend your merchandise money somewhere else at Target or something. So people who come to the party once and just once, they want to spend all their money on the food and the merchandise, so that way they can, feel like they walked out of there with something. And so that's why regular day guests, as we called them, they earn the company way more money
Mhm.
than annual pass holders. So I just wanted to clarify that because a lot of people
Sure.
don't know that, Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great way to put that, Alex. Jeremy, what do you have to say in response to the harsh accusations thrown your way?
That I'm sure that'll happen eventually. But so I agree with Alex. It's complicated though, because I mean, how can you justify still being an annual pass holder when this is happening? But at the same time, we know that Disney not necessarily punishes annual pass holders, but when they look at the issue of overcrowding, they tend to not look at it from an operational point of view as much as they do like an attendance point of view. So they try to make it more difficult for people to get annual passes to begin with. So I can imagine during a pandemic, I think they're worried that the local annual pass holders will not. I mean, I'm not going to say that. Are just gonna like show up in droves and overcrowd the parks when they're trying to be a beacon for how we can actually be safe in public spaces. And yeah, essentially they don't want to increase the risk of having a case tied to a visit to Walt Disney World. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that makes sense. However, it's true. People, I mean, like, what is the future of the meaning of theme parks? Like public places that we convene. I hope that eventually, we'll look favorably upon that again. But it's hard. Yeah. I mean, like financially, everyone's in a very horrible financial place right now. And so it's like the thought of going to a theme park is not even a thought in most anyone's mind, and then the people who do, it's hard to. So it's an interesting story.
It is very interesting, and we can continue on here as well. Disney views pass holders as a less than ideal group of guests. Excuse me, as spending per guest with a pass is lower than that of a resort and single-day ticket guests. Pass holders enter the park on a discount and receive discounts on food and merchandise, whilst other guests do not get such perks. As resort and day ticket park pass slots remain unfilled, pass holders are unable to get a reservation until September. A whole, long time from right now. When is September? I don't know. With the lifting of blockout dates for silver pass holders earlier this week, this issue is further that's a long word that was put in there intentionally to throw me off.
What's the word?
Disney CEO Bob Chapek is confident that one can. I tried my best. I read it over a few times, but it's just not.
All right, I'm gonna take a look at this.
Okay. Disney CEO Bob Chapek is confident that once consumer confidence in the theme parks in general rises, so will resort bookings and in turn profits. But at the moment, it seems Disney is ignoring a key facet of their visitors' base by failing to ease restrictions on pass holders. So, again, I am also an annual pass holder. Till December, I think, but I haven't, I've only gotten the chance to use my pass a few times, but I guess that's sort of
just once, basically.
Just once,
One trip.
One trip, yeah. Rest in peace to my Flex Pass, but I guess I can sort of ask the question to both of you guys. Let's start with Jeremy here. If you were in the situation here, annual pass holder, haven't been able to get into the parks for, in Disneyland's case, 5 months. Walt Disney World's case, parks were closed for a few months. Now you're blocked out for until September. Are you getting angry at Disney? Are you going to be raising your fists, picketing at the entrance of the Magic Kingdom? Or are you, accepting that maybe you're not the ideal guest in Disney's eyes? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. If I was an annual pass holder and it was already a financial strain to do that in the first place, I might be a little upset. It's complicated because they're not showing an effort to like supplement that with other annual pass like holder benefits and stuff like that. I don't really know. It's hard because it's hard. I just think it's so complicated overall. I would probably, if I was like an annual pass holder financially strained, I would maybe cancel and try to get some money back for the months that I couldn't go. So it's just complicated all around and messy.
Alex.
Well, I can't imagine what things would be like right now if I were a Walt Disney World annual pass holder.
Yeah.
But as a Disneyland pass holder, I happen to have a certain set of circumstances that thankfully have kind of lined up so that way I'm not in a financially compromised position. So, basically, I had to move away from California a couple months ago, and I moved all the way up to Portland, where I am now, and my pass doesn't expire till next month, which is September. And I was really worried that if the park reopened, they would start charging my monthly payments again. And that's okay if I were there. But since I can't go there for the foreseeable future, I'd just be paying a ton of money for something I couldn't visit. And and on top of that, it would kind of strain my already strained financial budget. But Disney has made it for Disneyland pass holders. You had the option to waive your past payments and just resume what is left of your payment until it cancels. Well, I mean, I do monthly payments. I should have mentioned that, but I do monthly payments. And I had the option to waive that and resume paying when the park opened, or postpone the payments, and when the park reopens, I resume where I left off when the park closed, and my pass gets extended until it's finished paying off. And I knew that I didn't know when I'd be coming back to California, so I chose to waive the payments and then resume when the park reopened. And if it doesn't reopen next month, then the rest I owed on that pass, I no longer have to pay because it expires. So that's something that has benefited me financially. I'm not going to jump up and cheer about it because considering the situation that we're in with a global pandemic and people dying, I'm not going to, start, woo about it. But, but there's people who paid, full on their whole pass all at once. And, to those people, I don't know what Disney is doing about it. From what I heard, it's there hasn't been much. And yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, Matt, like, did Disney say anything to you about yours? Because your pass is still good till what, December?
Yeah, I paid in full because I can't do monthly payments because I don't live in California. I honestly have not. I've been telling myself, like, it's been in the back of my mind to look into that because, I heard that they were doing, like, refunds and stuff like that or whatever, like Alex mentioned, but I haven't looked into it, like, at all. Every time I open the Disneyland app, I just get too sad to continue on to look any further into everything.
Well, you should actually call them.
I should, yeah. I really should, but now that you mention it, that's like...
They were telling all the Disneyland Resort pass holders to call annual pass services to discuss options for, like, what to do about your pass and stuff, but yeah, like, I hope that you're able to get some kind of refund or something, considering that you've only been there. You only used your pass on one visit.
I think I used it twice. 2 days.
2 days, yeah, but on the same visit.
Yeah.
That's so tough. Like, I almost wish they would just extend it another year, say a year on them, just to be like,
Now that you guys mention it, I have gotten some emails from the annual pass to Disneyland, but I always do like the archive. I use like an app. The app that I use like archives all my emails, so it gets sent to another folder, so I don't have to worry about them. But now that you guys,
that's automated. All right, talk to me about that later.
Okay.
I do it manually. I like to archive things manually.
Well, I would like to hear what all of you Walt Disney World annual pass holders have to say about this, because I do believe we have a few annual pass holders from, the Magic Kingdom, all out there in Florida who watch our show. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about this whole situation going on. Are you angry that Disney is blocking you out, or are you accepting, like I said, maybe you're not the most valuable? I guess that should even still make you angry that Disney values you lower than the out-of-town sort of park pass guests. I feel like that'd make me pretty angry if I felt that was happening to me. But yeah, do you guys have any final thoughts on this topic here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Jeremy, anything? Nothing at all?
No.
All right.
Matt?
Well, I have nothing else to add on. Oh, we do have a voicemail. That's right. We have a voicemail from Ryan that we need to get to before we close off the episode here. Let's go ahead and hear what Ryan has to say. This is about the Disney Plus discussion that we had earlier, so let's go ahead and see here.
Hey Matt, was Timeless from A Bug's Life, I think that's what it was that girl was talking about, but was that even a topic? Because all it said was about the Splash Mountain sinking and the Mulan movie being streamed. But if, let's see here, what was I saying? So for the Mulan release movie, I would put it on YouTube and release it probably for like cheaper price instead of probably going to public, because I know also YouTube's another, it's another site you could definitely watch movies, but it's more for videos. But I would use it, but it could also be used for a movie. So yeah.
All right, thank you. I believe that was from Ryan. He's the one who said that he had a voicemail. Thank you, Mr. Ryan, for that lovely voicemail. Lots of great ideas thrown around in there, releasing Mulan on YouTube for a cheaper price. I mean, I could put it on YouTube right now for free, but I'd get my channel taken down, so I don't, that's why I wouldn't do that. But we do have one final voicemail here, I believe. This one just came in as we were listening to Ryan's voicemail. Not sure who this is from. The transcription's not available, but let's go ahead and take a listen here to what this final voicemail. Nervous? I'll refresh one more time to see if nope, it didn't load. All right, let's go ahead and take a listen here.
Hey, what's up, Matt? What's up, Alex? What's
Okay,
up,
we're
Jeremy?
safe.
It's Brett here. So I actually had my pass extended. It was going to expire in, I want to say June, and right when they announced that Disneyland was going to be opening on its birthday on July 17th, I actually sat on hold for about 3 hours and finally got in touch with a cast member and had them extend my pass. Now, obviously, the parks aren't open, so they're not going to charge me until the parks obviously open, and then they'll continue my monthly payments. But it's kind of concerning because I don't know, how often I'm going to be able to go, if it's going to be like a full reservation system or however it works. And I think with the remarks that little Bobby Chapek made was kind of messed up, because if in terms of like an investor, they like to know that they like to have that guaranteed income. So as far as they know, they can predict, it's predictable income. So they know, next year, this is how much money we're going to be making off passes. So with his remarks to that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of him to begin with. I don't think he's going to care if guests get merchandise at Targets anyways, because he's going to be putting, Shop Disney stores in Target. So, I mean, those are my, those are my thoughts, and, see you guys.
Shoot.
Thank you, Mr. Brett, for that great voicemail. Gotta love Brett. Alex, do you have anything you'd like to go ahead and respond to what he said there?
Yeah. So I agree that I'm not Iger. Chapek should. I'm thinking of Bob. They're all named Bob. So
The builder.
I was thinking the builder. Yeah. I was thinking, like I agree with Brett that Chapek really should have, he really should have addressed that annual pass holders are a great value to the company. I mean, granted, it's like I was saying earlier, they really don't compared in a 30-day period with every day paying guests, they don't make the company that much money. And of course, the company is going to try to appeal as much as they can to the people who are going to be paying on a daily basis. But he should have let it be known that annual pass holders are still valuable to the company, because those are the people that are going to Disney parks right now, are annual pass holders. And, and so, well, at least up until they blocked them out. But, that is something that makes people feel less valued, and that could affect them. And Disney says right now that, annual pass holders don't make them much money, so they don't matter that much. But imagine what happens when, all those people decide we're not going to renew because we don't matter.
Yeah.
And then all they have left is like 100 annual pass holders who are still dedicated to going, and then they don't make any money at all. So it's just funny, like Disneyland Resort surpassed 2 million annual pass holders a couple years back. And what if that number went down to like a few thousand, that all that money would definitely show a financial loss to the company. Yeah. They just can't see it yet because they've just been swimming in money from the day guests. So, but yeah, I agree. It doesn't make annual pass holders feel any more valued at all. So
I agree. Not Alex, Jeremy. Do you have anything to add on there?
No, I agree with Alex. We have to remember that Chapek's background is not in making movies. It's not in, making theme park rides. It's in merchandising. Mm-hmm. He is the merchandising man. That's his background. That was his focus.
Santa.
That was why the parks. That's why the parks are now not their own entity. They're tied in with consumer products, merchandising. So that's the angle that Chapek has always viewed the parks. So we have to always remember that.
Chapek, more like Baldy. I don't know.
Walt Disney kind of had a philosophy of, if you build it, they will come. It was kind of like, if you do something really great, you do something really special, the people will come, the money will come in. But the way the company mostly runs now, especially with Chapek at the helm, because he's again, what Jeremy said, he's not a creative type. He came from merchandising, all that. All he thinks about is money and how the company can make them more money. And so that philosophy of, if you build it, they will come, doesn't necessarily apply to Chapek. What he's more concerned about is, if we sell it, maybe they will buy it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what he's trying to do here. And it's really sad to see it done this way, because as much as people don't want to admit it, the company is just a company. It's just another one of those run-of-the-mill companies nowadays. It's not run the same way Walt Disney ran it, where it was very unique and no other company in the world ran it that particular way. It's just run like a regular company. Mm-hmm. And that regular way is just money. They just seek money all the time. So it's unfortunate.
Tragic, very tragic. But on that note, I would like to make a special announcement. I'm opening Matterhorn Matland next to Disneyland, and it will be free of charge. And it will have all of your favorite rides. The People Mover, the person sitter is what it's going to be called, not the people mover. I'm excited to share some concept art next episode that Jeremy has drawn up so graciously. But until that, I think it's time to go ahead and end off.
Wait.
Yes.
One more thing. Someone asked in the chat.
If
what,
Matt should be sorry.
No. if Matt should be institutionalized, yes. Thomas and Olena Stone says, "What have you guys heard about a second bar coming to Galaxy's Edge? I read this somewhere." I thought maybe we could quickly touch on that since it's just a brief little mention.
A second bar coming to Galaxy's Edge. That's interesting. I thought there were.
You haven't heard that?
No.
I haven't heard that.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. So basically, this is what it is, and it's just a really simple explanation. There's a Star Wars video game coming out, and it's based entirely in on the planet Batuu at the Black Spire Outpost, which is what Galaxy's Edge is.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I just realized the place has 3 names.
Yeah.
It's like, what the heck, dude? Anyway, yeah. So
Star Wars Land,
Star
Black
Wars Land,
Spire Outpost, Batuu, Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. So so the bar is going to be for the video game, but the bar is in the Black Spire Outpost, technically like a few doors down from Oga's Cantina. So, but Disney hasn't. There's no talk about it physically going into the parks and resorts. However, the funny thing about it is that where this bar is supposed to go is supposedly where the animatronic restaurant was supposed to be in Galaxy's Edge. So there was a restaurant in between where the milk stand is and where the little shop is with the hammerhead creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So in between those,
but yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's like totally escaped me. But between those two places in that same building is a large open space that has been closed all this time, and it was supposed to be an animatronic restaurant, and there was going to be a bar there, and there was going to be a bunch of tables, and then there was going to be a stage where an animatronic band and performers were going to play. But they cut, Bob Chapek cut that from the budget, and it never happened. But in the video game, that's where this other bar is going to be. But again, that's only on the video game, so there's been no word about it going into the parks.
Interesting. Well, my brief thoughts on that. A second bar. I mean, if it's just like a bar that only serves like alcohol, I don't think that would be, well, I guess something similar to maybe Oga's Cantina. I don't really think that would be ideal for Disney to do, but maybe if they like combined it with like a sit down type with actual food, sort of like the previous version that they were going to be building there. I feel like that'd be cool, because there are no really like sit down restaurants in Galaxy's Edge. All just quick service, and then of course Oga's Cantina. But I'm not opposed to more food from Galaxy's Edge, if it's good, that is. But yeah. Alex, did you have any, or Jeremy, either of you guys?
It's Jeremy's turn.
You know what? No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Well,
No,
that's
no.
new.
I agree. I agree with Matt. I don't see how they would just put like 2 bars next to each other unless it was like a restaurant that also serves alcoholic like cocktails.
Yeah.
So because the restaurant idea was amazing, and I'm still sad that they didn't follow through on that. So I hope eventually they do. So
yeah.
A funny little story. I when Galaxy's Edge opened, I frequented the
Cantina? Oh, they know.
No. No, I didn't. I don't like that place. It's so loud and there's no room. Right? No, what do you call that place with the pod racer that's upside down?
Docking Bay? No, it's not Docking Bay.
No.
That's the other one. The other one that's not Docking Bay is what it is. It's
the other one that's not Docking Bay, right? So I went there all the time, and they had Ronto Roasters. There we go. So I always got Ronto wraps, right? And they even serve a breakfast Ronto wrap, and I started going there for breakfast because the breakfast places I was usually going to in Disneyland were closing down one by one. And then the last place I went for breakfast stopped serving my pancake breakfast. So I had my only choice for breakfast was going to Ronto Roasters. But I have such bad luck when I eat things like, let's just say, microwavable burritos and sausages. So
burger.
I have really bad luck. No, when
microwavable burger.
When I eat microwavable burgers, I can't eat them because when I eat them, there's always a pebble in my burrito, and it comes from the beans. If anybody who's ever cooked beans from raw, you will know that it often comes with pebbles, and you have to sort the beans out. But because it's all done in mass manufacturing, sometimes a pebble gets through and it goes into a bean burrito, and I'm always the one that finds it every single time. And I almost chip a tooth. And it's almost the same thing when I eat a sausage. So I always find in sausages outside of home, I've never had this in the home, but there is a crushed bone in my sausage almost every time I eat a sausage out. And so when I would go to Ronto Roasters, I would buy the breakfast Ronto wrap, and then I'd bite into it, and there's some bones. And nobody believed me. And then one day I was actually hanging out with like Steve and Mark, Chris, and Jason. And I don't know if you were there, Matt. I don't remember. But a bunch of us, we all had breakfast there, and they're like, come on, aren't you get a Ronto wrap? I'm like, no, I always find bones. And they're like, that's ridiculous, Alex. How are you finding bones? So I was like eating my Ronto wrap, and then crunch, and they all heard it. And I'm spitting out pieces of bone fragments. I'm eating this thing, and bone, one after another, bone fragments out of every bite. And I laid them all out on the table for everyone to see, and they were like, it's just like, I have a really, like, it's like a curse. It's part of my curse. It's part of, like, the thing. It's like, did I tell anybody that I was making corrections to my script for Splash Mountain, so I could put it on my subscription service, and that's when the Splash Mountain boat sank.
No. Well, Alex, in regards of the
as they were getting
bones,
up, they were like, I was sitting on bones?
No.
Well, in regards to the bone, Alex, I think the only solution is to have someone else chew your food for you, and then they'll pick out the bones for you, so you don't break. So then the other person will break their teeth instead of you.
Yeah.
I won't be the one to do it. I just proposed.
Due to my luck, they might be chewing on the food for me, find no bones, but then when they regurgitate it back to me, one of their teeth will fall out into my food.
No.
So that's just my luck.
That is just like Alex's luck. Well, Alex, I volunteer. Next time I'm in the park with you, I'll chew your food for you. I'll get you a straw.
Yes, all my friends. You know what we'll do is we'll have a circle of everybody. And like bees, we'll share the food with one another until it comes to me, and they'll be succulent and sweet. Oh God, I'm getting grossed out just talking about it. Let's just move on.
We can move on.
I think I disassociated long ago.
Well, on that note, everybody, it's time to go ahead and close off the episode today. I don't know if we mentioned at the top, there was no attraction retrospective. There was a lot of great news that we were excited
There better
to get
not
into.
be.
Well, on that note, you guys, Lincoln won the vote. Finally.
No.
Just kidding. No attraction retrospective this week, but we will it will return next week in its full glory. But until then, links to everything, like I mentioned, will be down in the description. The articles, Jeremy's stage plays that he's written will be down in the description, as well as Alex's
YouTube
channel will also be down in the description, as well as all the other social medias. You guys know the drill. And on that note, thank you all for coming to today's episode. And as always, have a great big beautiful tomorrow.